thank you very much for the opportunity, Adele, to share today, which is really what a privilege it is to share some wisdom and knowledge. My thinking about the whole aspect of experience is if you don't share your experience with others, it's a wasted opportunity. It's something that you're just sitting on with yourself, but if it can affect lives, if it can improve quality of life, if it can give inspiration, or it's such an important thing to share. And so thank you for this opportunity. I really do appreciate that. It's not about my own business, it's about how we can learn from each other. And I just want to say this at the outset. Every one of you in this room has got amazing knowledge and experience that you can share with others. And when you have the opportunity, don't miss that opportunity, because it is a really good time when you feel it's right to share something with somebody. There's a great scripture in Proverbs that I just want to start with, and that's it talks about inspiration and encouragement. And it's in Proverbs 27:3, it says, "A word fitly spoken is like apples of silver in settings of gold." What a great scripture that is. And it's about saying the right thing at the right time to people that need encouragement. So always be aware and always be prepared to share knowledge and wisdom with somebody that needs it at the time. And the Holy Spirit will tell you, share a word. It's important. Don't miss that opportunity. There's a great quote as well that talks about, "I shall pass this way but once." If I can show any kindness or opportunity or uplift anybody at any time, let me do it now. Don't let me put it off, find an excuse not to do it because I won't pass this way again. So effectively, it's a great quote that, but it's taught me a lot about sharing what you know. And wisdom is something that when you share it with others, the scriptures in Proverbs talks a lot about wisdom and how important it is. So it's about experience and wisdom. And if you have that to share, all of us have the opportunity at times to do it. So just an encouragement. So I want to ask anybody, has everybody got enough time in your day? Just gonna, if you're honest, you can put out your hand. Are we short of time? We've got 24 hours, but are we short of time? I just want to share something quickly. It's a principle that I've learned, which is called net time. We always say we don't have enough time. What does net time stand for? The NET stands for no extra time. Because there's times we can use the time that we have. And a lot of Christians use, I don't have time to pray, I'm busy, I start working early in the morning. But you know, when you're walking, you can be praying. When you're driving in your car, you can be praying. You can be listening to inspirational teaching in your car. A lot of cars have still got a CD player in there. There's so much good material that's around. It's about using the opportunity that you have. So use that net time. It's a very important principle that I've learned. NET, no extra time. So just starting out with about business. Every business in the world starts by selling something. Okay? So sales is obviously a key driver. Without sales, you don't have business. It's simple as that. Yeah. Marketing knowledge, when applied, increases the sales and profits. Exactly what Adele was using as the introduction there. It reduces your product or service if you let people know about it. So marketing is vital. It's not a nice to have, it's a must do. And if you need marketing experience, there's so much that you can learn online, on the internet. There's so many things that you can learn. I would encourage everybody that's in business, that has their own business, that's selling a service or a product, to get as much marketing knowledge as you can. It's really vital. And it's very important for success going forward. Everything that we do in business starts with a customer. Customer service is key. And I love this quote from Khalil Gibran, which says, "I slept and dreamed that life is all joy. I woke up and I saw that life is all service. I served and I saw that service is joy." Quite interesting. Very powerful quote, guys, to take note of, because if you look into the scriptures again, where it talks about love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, love your neighbor as yourself, that's the service part. That we are serving people. That should be. And I often hear people say, "Oh, I can't sell. I'm not good at selling." But selling is really service. You analyze it. So it's very important to note that it all starts with the customer. The customer is key. When you treat customers, so I was fortunate in my life to spend 15 years with Pick and Pay. I was part of the team that opened the hypermarket stores in South Africa. And I had Raymond Ackman, who was my marketing. I was really privileged to have it. And he always used to say, make the customer your queen and she'll make you the king. And that's true. It really is. So when you serve a customer, that's what it's all about. So just note that service is such a key. You can never overdo service. In tourism, you can never do over hospitality. You need to be over the top because that's really where you should be in terms of standards. We can learn from people. I love learning from the smartest people in the world because it really compresses time. I don't have to go through or make all the mistakes. So I like to look at Amazon. Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, they asked him how did he become so successful? And here was his answer: obsessive, compulsive focus on customers, not competitors. We focus a lot on our opposition instead of focusing in the right area, which is our customers. That's where we need, not the competitors. Because when you're focusing on the customers, you're beating the competitors. That's really how it works. And interesting to note, when I saw that Amazon logo for the first time, and I wondered, what's this arrow for? Why would you put an arrow on a logo? And it really means they sell everything from A to Z. If you look at the logo, you can see how it works.
That's clever.
Quite anything. Nothing that Amazon can sell.
Clever.
And we can learn from a person like Jeff Bezos. They said his net worth is worth $192 billion US. Wow, quite amazing. So let's learn from the best and use that as an example in life to learn from the best, because you can learn so much and it compresses time. Time is money. Think about that. There's a great book by James Allen called As a Man Thinketh, So Is He. And there's some great principles that we can learn from this and how important our thoughts are in business. Our thoughts shape our reality. Our thoughts shape our character. The world reflects our thoughts and beliefs. Our world that we project out there is how we think. We think and we're generous, and we think it's not about hoarding anything for ourselves. It's about what we can give, what we can reflect to the world. The power of our thoughts determine success or failure. And it's true what the scripture says. I just want to quote that. You can see it at the bottom of the slide there. Proverbs 23:7. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So thoughts are such an incredible thing. And it's really part of marketing that I like to teach, because it's important for us to understand how powerful our thoughts are. A wise and focused mind can always navigate challenges, come up with solutions. And that's really what ASB is about today, coming up with solutions for a troubled world. Good thoughts bear good fruit. A clear, focused vision creates success. Positive thoughts envision dreams. Very important. I have a lot of creative ideas that come to me when I'm sleeping, when I'm dreaming. It's interesting that God talks about that in the scriptures, that He would give those visions to people. Positive thought. So today, your thoughts, your total sum of your thoughts today are where you are today. That's a reflection of your life, exactly. Kind thoughts produce everything, kindness. And interesting the way he sums it up in his book. James Allen says, a man's mind may be likened unto a garden, can either be intelligently cultivated or left to run wild. So it's interesting when we can learn from people that have thought about this deeply, and thoughts are such a key thing. There's a concept which I like to teach, which is called sensory acuity. What is sensory acuity? It involves the ability to perceive sensory information. We've got 5 senses, and if we're using all our senses correctly, we will develop this concept, which is a learned habit called sensory acuity. And effectively, what it simply means is that you notice things that's happening around you, which is very important in business. You have to notice what's happening around. Some people go through life that are totally oblivious to both things that are happening around them, and I'm not attacking anybody's character, but the point is they're not aware. Sensory acuity is such an important learning thing. And I'm going to touch on why this is important in terms of marketing. But we need to learn this principle. Something that I teach as well called a red car theory. Now, red cars, most people think these are very flashy and they maybe sports cars that have this red color. But red is the color that is most susceptible to ultraviolet light. If you look at red cars, they're the ones that fade the quickest in the sunlight. Interesting. So I have this concept of a red car theory, and I'd say to somebody, and I'm teaching, I'd say, how many red cars did you see on your way to this meeting? See any? So I thought, let me test this theory with myself, teaching this stuff, and I'm saying to myself, why? And it's not about looking for red cars. It's noticing the traffic. That's what it's about. That's the sensory acuity part. And I was driving to Johannesburg, and I thought to myself, let me test this theory myself. Let's just check out the red car theory. And it was interesting that before I got to Pietermaritzburg, I received 39 red cars on the road. Okay, that's what you look for in life. Sensory acuity, very important. Neuroscience in marketing is something that's taken over the world, and that will impact all future strategies. Neuroscience helps marketers understand emotional triggers that drive consumer behavior. If we know what is going to affect sales, what's going to create a purchasing decision, it's a good thing to note. And it's all about the brain. How does the brain work? And it's very important to note that sensory marketing, how does smell, how does sight, how does color, how does it affect sales? All of those things affect sales. It's how you apply them. Depends obviously what business you're in, that would apply more. And I'm going to show you some examples of that. But what it helps discover emotional triggers for the customer. What triggers a customer to make a decision to buy? Just how easy would it be to sell if you knew how to activate these triggers? So neuroscience understand that how the brain works is how the best marketing people in the world are looking at the world today in terms of how they create sales. So don't be oblivious to the fact that the brain isn't, and it's what you do and becoming a good salesman and all that. A lot of that, the sales today are impacted by neuroscience. Just wanted to pass on that communication point to you. There's a law in physics which is called constructive interference. In marketing, constructive interference when two completely different marketing strategies work harmoniously together to amplify the message. And we've seen this firsthand by aligning our social media, content creation, podcasts, which Adele has done so well. Well done, Adele. Printed media and radio, for example, when you create all of this cohesion together and make all of that put out one message, how powerful that is. So there's something which is called a media mix. And if people think you can only do marketing on social media, that's the beginning, and then that's a mistake. Okay, that's part of it. It's only a part of it. But you need all kinds of different marketing to actually get across. So if you look at brand messages, I'll just use the brand that I work on. If you drive anywhere in South Africa, you'll see giant billboards, KFC marketing their product. Okay, that's one part. That's just showing the visual aspect. But if you go onto YouTube, you'll find KFC there as well. If you go onto radio, you'll hear them on radio. If you look at TV, they'll be there as well. If you see flyers and things being printed, it's all part of the media mix. So don't think that you can only do social media in your business and that's enough. It's a very important part, but it's not enough. And it's all about harnessing the power of synergy. When you tie all these things together, it sets this strategy apart from others. Just some interesting things that on printed advertising, there's 4 essential ad components that is needed in terms of marketing. Whenever you're doing anything printed, you need to understand that you need all 4 of these principles. This is really marketing 101. It's very basic stuff, but it's important for you to note. There's this AIDA acronym that we use for how important it is on anything that's printed. Number 1, it needs to be attractive. It needs to attract your attention. Number 2, it needs to be interesting. D, it needs to create a desire to purchase. And A is an action to purchase. So when you see all the marketing that's going on in terms of advertising in newspapers, you'll see, for example, it'll be full color, that makes it attractive. Beautiful pack shots of the product makes it attractive. When you see products there that you normally would buy on a pretty regular basis, that's interesting. I'm interested in buying these products. Desire to purchase is when you see which brand is selling all this stuff. You know it's a reputable brand. It's one of, I like to use Checkers and Woolworths maybe as good retail examples. They're fantastic in what they do. Desire to purchase. Where are you buying it from? And then action to purchase is the special price that you see. Promotional deal. And most of these deals are something which we call an LTO. What is an LTO? Limited time offer. Whenever there's a scarcity on time that is projected into selling, you find the opportunity, I've got to buy this quickly. I can't, if I don't, 4 days time is gone. If I want the product, it creates an urgency for purchase. So very important, and a very important thing to note, whenever you're doing anything that's advertising or it's printed, AIDA has to be there. If any of these components are missing, your advertising will be less effective. Okay, so just to note that point. There's a success formula that the world have come up, the real smart marketing people have come up with the world. What is a successful formula for social media? There is a success formula for it, for optimum results. And that is frequency times creativity equals growth. Frequency times creativity equals growth. It's how often you can present your skill set or solution to somebody else's desired outcome. Think about that. Simple to understand. How you present what you're offering to somebody else's desired outcome. People need to be entertained, educated, emotionally elevated, and socially connected. That's why social media works so well. You need to note that you have this formula in social media. If you don't have it, it's not working the way it can for you. Very important. I also want to just mention the aspect, or touch on one of these points, which is the aspect of being entertained. Today, anything that's done on video is 100 times more powerful than anything that you read. That is why Instagram has become so popular. But even beyond that, TikTok, off the charts in terms of how powerful these media are, because you're being entertained. Video is an important. So if you're marketing or any one of your clients, or you want to communicate something from your business, if you do an MP4 2 or 3 minute video that you can send out to somebody's phone. Where's the easiest place to reach people today? The phone in their hands. Or you can send it out on email. Very powerful to communicate your business. People are short of time. They don't want to go onto the internet and spend hours searching for things. Put it into the phone, into their hands. Video, very important. MP4, 2 or 3 minutes. Unbelievable. When I see a new client, first thing you have to do, create a video for your business. What are you selling? Get it into people's hands. Build a database for yourself. Talking about the senses, I just want to talk about fragrance marketing. It's called olfactory marketing. It means marketing to the senses. So if you're going to any of these hotels, or you go into a place that practices health and wellness, you're going to get different smells in these places. And these diffusers affect your whole atmosphere of what the place is like, how it makes you feel. So for example, floral scents, I'm just using this as an example, that's lavender, jasmine, cherry. Those create a calming and relaxing atmosphere. If you go to a classy hotel or anything, any hotel or any smart restaurant or any health and wellness place, you you'll have this fragrance. But I'm going to show you how else it can work. Herbal scents, basil, eucalyptus, rosemary, create a sense of well-being that you find in spas. Woody scents, cedarwood, sandalwood, vanilla scents are commonly used for a warming atmosphere. You can find that in a lodge in the mountains. So that's the kind of you can find there. And then citrus, lemon, orange are popular choices for refreshing and uplifting properties. Okay. So when you go into, you're looking for a very upmarket home, you go into that home, you're going to smell something in that place. It's not there by accident. It's to create this atmosphere. So just to be aware of that. I just want to show you how this can work in other senses. Like in the USA, did some intensive experimental research at some of the highest volume retail outlets that sell sneakers. On certain days, they had hidden diffusers spraying a welcoming fragrance into their showrooms. Amazingly, sales increased by over 84% on the days, and they dropped down to average daily sales when those smells and diffusers weren't there. The conclusion was that fragrance triggers emotions. And I'm going to touch on how important emotions are in business these days. That introduced a more relaxed purchasing approach. Interesting. Even when these shoes were sold at a higher price, people bought them. It's interesting to know that. How emotions are affected by smell. Your sense of smell is the most powerful sensory part of your five senses, smell. You can walk into a room, you can see everything, you can hear everything. First thing your brain will pick up is the smell that's in the room. Interesting. You need to take note of this. So when you're in having a board meeting or something, make sure, or an important meeting, make sure that fragrance is there. It's such a simple thing and it's easy to apply. Starbucks. Most powerful coffee operation in the world. Just for interest's sake, coffee is now in a lot of places in the world has increased, bypassed the sales of Coca-Cola as the fastest growing beverage opportunity in the world. That's why wherever you look, you'll see people with trucks, carts, all kinds of things selling coffee all over the place. So volumes of coffee has increased dramatically in the world. Starbucks did a powerful sensory marketing campaign on the New York City buses that passed a large number of their restaurants. They placed coffee essence diffusers inside public transport. So the buses were filled with fragrance of coffee. The strong smell of fresh coffee on buses caused most commuters to disembark at the first stop. Grab a cup of coffee. Interesting.
It's not fair.
There will definitely have been big.
So here's the interesting thing. Coffee sales increased by 798%.
Oh,
Food items increased by 157%. Just be aware of shops. Having something to drink, food and drink go together, and snack items increased by 94%. Take note of sensory marketing. Very important in today's world. What makes people buy? Very interesting thing to take note of. People don't buy products, they buy feelings. All purchases create emotions. Once emotions are experienced, logic is justified. Quite interesting. It works the other way around. It's not what you need, it's how it makes you feel when you buy something.
True.
And that's why people spend so much on designer clothing, just have a brand that's recognized, that's going to give status, whatever it is. They're buying feelings. When I buy this very expensive shirt or blouse, how's it going to make me feel? People don't buy products, they buy feelings. All purchases are created through emotions. Once emotions are justified, logic is there. So emotions are the driver of sales in the world today. When people buy a new BMW, it's not about the fuel consumption. When you get into that car, everything's electric. The smell of the leather seats. Emotions. Interesting. Color. How does color affect corporate identity? Just in case we've never thought about that, I just want to give a quick illustration. The color red projects energy, excitement, powerful, bold. Color red. Coca-Cola logo, KFC logo, red in McDonald's, not by accident. Energy, excitement, powerful, bold. Black, sophistication, professionalism, luxury. Apple, example. Very simple Apple logo, it doesn't even say Apple. See it? Know it. Orange projects friendly, cheerful, enthusiasm and fun. Fanta use that color quite extensively. When you see green, it often represents, or it always represents, wealth, growth, health, and luxury. That's why the banks use, Nedbank uses that color. When you see anything that's brown, basically it would be a food type item, quite often bakery, uses brown. The color blue also projects trust, strength, and dependability. Standard Bank. Yellow is a very interesting color. Optimism, warmth, and clarity comes out of yellow. So if you love yellow, it's not a bad thing. And then of course, purple depicts luxury, imagination, and loyalty. Interesting to note, colors not there by accident. The power of buy one, get one free. Very cool thing to do in business. Incredible power, buy one, get one free is an excellent way of attracting new customers. If you see a new supermarket open, you'll often see they've got buy one, get one free offers. Okay? What does buy one, get one free really mean? 50% discount. It's not making money out of the product. But that word free, free is the most powerful marketing word in the world. Free. Anything that's where you've got the word free creates a purchasing decision. Really worth noting that. Buy one, get one free, as you can see at the bottom of the slide there, equals 50% discount. But that word free creates the purchasing decision. This is a great person. If you've never read any of his books, it's really worthwhile reading this guy called Og Mandino. I'll tell you a story about Og Mandino quickly. He was a homeless man in New York, walking around the streets, and in winter it got so cold that he went into libraries just to get into a warm place. And during this time in the libraries, did all this learning, sort of learning about all kinds of things, and started educating himself. Eventually he became the editor of one of the largest newspapers in New York City. And he's got a great quote that says, "My dreams are worthless, my plans are dust, and my goals are impossible. All are of no value unless they're followed by action." That's really what we're talking about. That is, it's about action. It's not about talking about things and promising things, it's about action. So, and you must have the courage to start. Quite often in business, and I'm going to talk about it a bit later as well, is you don't have the courage to start. But you have to, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. It's just an important thing to note. Whatever you want to do in life, if you've got a vision or you've got something that you've been thinking about for a long time, do it.
Yeah.
Like and right, we must say, just do it. It's true. I like to follow Albert Einstein because I've been seen as one of the most wisest people that lived in history. And I don't know if you've heard about the story about a note from Einstein's teacher. When young Albert Einstein was in 4th grade, his teacher sent a note in a sealed envelope for him to give to his mother. As she opened the envelope, young Albert was obviously, what did it say? What did the note say? Mum didn't answer immediately. She just folded it and put it back in the envelope, sealed the envelope again. And this was her answer. It says you're brilliant. It says you're gifted. It says you're going to do great things in life. 30 years later, after his mother had died, the now famous Einstein found the envelope and read the note that his teacher had written. It read, "Your son has a mental illness. He's not smart. He should not even be going to school. People become who you see them to be. You need to look for the greatness of people. Just a good life principle. Look for the greatness in people. When you look for it, you're going to find it. The other thing I like about Einstein, he talks about imagination. We often fail to use our imagination in this busy world. God's given us this ability to think and imagine things. Because how do you create anything? Anything that has been created, that has been great in the world, it's come from a thought. Imagining, what would this be like if we had this? So you need to develop imagination. And again, it's a skill, it's something that's a learned habit that you can get into. Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited. The imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress, giving birth to change in the world. That's really what we need to do. We need to become agents of change. I often like to use an example that I like to learn from the Japanese. Japanese are unbelievably disciplined as a nation. In case you didn't know, when a child goes to school, they don't do any schoolwork during the first 3 years. No schoolwork, no educated learning. All they learn is life principles, discipline, learning how to value people, how to recognize people, how to treat people well. That's what the child learns for the first 3 years at school. Unbelievable. Didn't realize this. That's why the Japanese are such a disciplined nation. If there's anybody we can learn from, really, is the Japanese. And if you look at some of their brands in the world, and I'm going to touch on it now, if you look at Toyota, it's a global brand leader in the world. Every country. Toyota's there, it's a brand leader. Why? Because of the quality they put into their vehicles. These vehicles are virtually indestructible. They're just going to keep on going. And I'm sure you know that slogan that that the brand adopted says, everything keeps going right. Toyota. Interesting. Because they've done everything with perfection. So what they noticed was there was a gap in the American markets for a luxury car. Their cars are very basic workhorses, very strong, but they lacked a vehicle that was luxury. And so they got their scientists together and said, how can we come up with we've got all the expertise, we can come up with a luxury vehicle. What should we call it? And can we introduce this into the American market? And they did. And the vehicle is called Lexus. What does Lexus stand for? L stands for luxury. EX stands for export. And US stands for United States.
Yeah.
Amazing. These people are amazing. And today Lexus is a very expensive vehicle. It's found plenty of Lexus vehicles in South Africa, because Toyota is a brand leader in South Africa as well. So there's a lot that we can learn from the likes of the Japanese. I just want to touch on the aspect of Toyota. When you look at the Toyota logo, I'm going to put it on the screen now. It's very basic. What is it about? What does it mean? Nothing the Japanese do is without meaning, without deep thought, and without thinking globally in global principles. I'm going to show you the logo, which I'm sure you're very familiar with. There it is. It's pretty plain vanilla, pretty basic. What does it mean? What does it look like? The three circles in the logo symbolizes the quality, expertise, and customer satisfaction. Those three logos. The outer one represents the world. They're an international brand leader. The empty background in the logo is their infinite perfection in terms of values, integrity, and environmental responsibility. All the letters of the word Toyota are hidden in that logo. As you can see, there it is. There's the T, there's the O, Y, O, T, A. Interesting. One of the things that I learned from my time with Raymond Ackerman was he had this thing called retail is detail. Always looking at detail in anything that you're selling. Japanese are certainly unbelievable at that. Then there's a principle that I've learned which is called the rule of 100. When you focus 100 hours of learning and practice on any skill during a year, you will become an expert in this area. How easy is it for us to become an expert in that? Is that a good thing? We think it's such a valuable thing to become an expert in an area. This exercise only requires 16.5 minutes per day to become expert in any field. Very important to note that the rule of 100. AI is the time saver of the century. Time is such an important thing for us. When it comes to gathering information, the beauty of AI, a lot of people are skeptical about it. It's evil, it's this and it's that. You can turn days into hours in terms of learning. Hours into minutes, and minutes into seconds. That's how quickly you can learn by using AI. You should treat AI as a personal assistant. Your own personal assistant with a phone in your hand. That's how easy it is. Don't shy away from AI. The people that are scared about losing their jobs, there are going to be mechanical things that are going to take away from labor-intensive jobs. That's a fact. It's going to happen over time. But the people that are going to lose their jobs are the ones that don't use AI. Important to note. Really, I've been using AI for the last 3 years in my business. And when I used to come up with a campaign for any one of my major clients, probably at times took me about 10 days of research to do it. Because you know how to prompt, you know what all the key things are that you need to have in your campaign, when you prompt AI correctly, it now takes me 10 seconds. So don't shy away from AI. It's an important vehicle in business and marketing. Jim Rohn is a very influential person, used to be in the world, used to be the mentor for Tony Robbins, if you've heard of Tony Robbins. And he had this great quote, which I think is great. Faith is the ability to see things that don't exist. It's really important for us as Christians to go again. Faith is the ability to see things that don't exist. Vision is the ability to turn the thoughts into things. Vision starts with big dreams that seem impossible. This Voleka project to me, when I look at it, why don't I even think about all this stuff? Because it's unbelievable when I look at how big it can be. But it's about serving. Don't just follow your dreams, chase them down and achieve them. When you've thought about something that you want to do in your life, you've never done it, do it. Just do it. In life, you always regret things that you didn't do. When you look back, you should have done this, could have done this. Today's the youngest you're ever going to be. This room today. It's the youngest you're going to be. If you think you've started things too late, today's the youngest you're ever going to be. So think about doing it, especially an encouragement to young people. Don't let great ideas escape. This is a great author as well, David Swartz, if you knew about him. He's got this book, The Magic of Thinking Big. We need to increase the size of our thoughts, because often our thoughts are measured by the amount of finance we have available. Can't do this. And it's interesting that if you have something that's good, and you think you've got a money problem, you don't have a money problem, because there'll always be finances to service good ideas. But it's about, so don't let great ideas escape. People with fertile minds and those who exercise creative thinking know that a good idea may sprout at any time, any place. Mm-hmm. Don't let those incredible ideas escape. Write them down. They need to be nailed to paper or to notes on your phone in order to retain. Quite often we think of amazing things, get distracted, those things never happen. So just lost opportunities. Don't lose any opportunities. You have The one thing that I've taught myself is I discipline myself to learn 5 new things every single day. There's so much knowledge and information around. So interesting stuff to learn. Become a lifelong learner. That's my encouragement. I teach that as marketing, but you can never know enough. There's always something we can learn. We need to develop the habit and discipline of inquiring new knowledge every single day of our life. We must never stop learning, because life never stops teaching. Learn. Encourage your children to learn. Instead of wasting time on games and stuff, messing around on the phone, teach them something. I have something that I teach my grandchildren every time I meet them. I'll say to them, what do you want to learn about today? Let me see. I want to learn about the snow leopard, or I want to learn about this. And I'll sit down with them and I'll just go through it. Always, that information is always on your phone, you can always find it. But teaching is such an important thing. Become a lifelong learner. Teach children. Encourage young people to learn. Such an important thing. You'll never feel ready. If you look at that illustration there, what stops you? Being fearful, no plan, confused about this, unsure, in doubt. A large percentage of failure in marketing and in business comes from procrastination. You need to note that. In life, you will never feel ready if there's something important you need to do. Because ready isn't a feeling, it's a decision. Interesting to know that. You'll never feel ready in life, because ready isn't a feeling, it's a decision. God checks management before he releases resources. Quite interesting. And how do we know that? Because the scripture tells us that. Luke 16:10, and you quoted that today, Adele, I noted that. Whoever can be trusted with little can also be trusted with much. God checks resources before he releases, he checks management before he releases resources. Make sure that whatever you're doing is going to be a blessing to the Lord. It's going to be an added value to the kingdom. Make the most of every opportunity. Very important in life. Very important in life. I've learned this principle, and it's a great principle to know. Open every door in life that you can. The doors that close, let them close. Keep walking through the doors that remain open. Interesting to know that. Make the most, open every door in life that you can, because they are opportunities. Those that close, let them close. Keep walking through the ones that remain open. Then you can make the most of every opportunity. And Ephesians 5:16 talks about that. Make the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil. Make the most of every opportunity. Thanks, Adele. Appreciate the opportunity to share today.
Sure. Thank you so much, Andre.